Recently, I'd been hankering for a third-person shooter, a tactical third-person shooter, kind of in the vein of Metal Gear Solid 5. And luckily, Ghost Recon Breakpoint was cheap on PSN, some deal, and I picked it up. And at first I was disappointed. I was like, oh, this isn't really what I wanted. I didn't do too much research on it, unfortunately. But after spending it's been about 19 hours now and finishing what I think is originally the actual game, although there's like, these days, everything's done on a yearly basis, so there's some extras that I haven't done yet, and this is like a deluxe version or something like that. It was pretty good. I would say that a poor man's Metal Gear Solid 5 is an apt description. The biggest difference and the thing that I don't like about it is perhaps the open world aspect of it, in that everything is connected. I really like more of a mission-based style of game or chapters, whatever you want to call it, where you have a pretty specific mission to accomplish at that point. Now, you can do that in this game in terms of, I want to do this mission, that's fine. And they all kind of fit within what I consider a pretty weak narrative. I don't care for the narrative and the story at all in this game. But it's all within one open world. And I just don't feel like this type of game needs to be an open world game.
You're gonna be so sorry you messed with me.
It's, unlike like a Ghost of Tsushima or even like a Breath of the Wild or like an Assassin's Creed, there's not really anything to discover in this world other than the boxes of loot and like weapon parts and things like that, which is really disinteresting to me.
I'm telling you,
uninteresting.
I know you won't get in.
It's
Rosebud will take you out.
It's one of those games where if I could just pick a mission and they drop me in right there where I'm supposed to accomplish it, that would be preferred. However, you have to find the waypoint, and then you have to get there. And I mean, it's fairly easy to get there. You can jump into a helicopter or a car, but it's still just wasted time and effort. And I'd rather just get to the point and do it. Like, flying in a helicopter seems pretty cool. Driving a vehicle seems pretty cool, but really it's like, this isn't Grand Theft Auto. I want to just get to the mission. I want to do the core gameplay, which is the shooting. Now, there are a couple different versions of this game, or how you can play this game at least. I guess originally when this came out, there was a lot of complaints that this was a straight up looter shooter. There's still a lot of elements to that. They think you can still play it that way. However, there is a new choice to play like an immersive mode, which is what I've decided to play, where you're not just getting, hey, here's a box over here, go run and acquire it, or get the blueprint, or whatever it is. So there's not just a bunch of things all over the screen all the time that's causing you to get distracted, and it breaks the immersion. So I get the immersive mode for sure. And so it's a little more realistic, air quotes, in terms of like how you would approach this. But I mean, the core gameplay, like what you see here, where you are going into to a mission and you're infiltrating a base. To get in there, you can do it through stealth. You could go guns a-blazing. I've had basically zero luck of just guns blazing. I mean, I'm considering this stealth, where I'm sniping people from afar before I go in, is probably the most ideal thing, and it's a little more realistic. Again, like Metal Gear Solid 5, like eventually in that game you can get pretty overpowered, and you can call on airstrikes, and you can, have rocket launchers, and you have Metal Gear that you can use, and all that with a companion, stuff like that. The version of that, the way to kind of have that in here is through multiplayer, which is really, really fun. A buddy and I played for a couple hours. It's more than just, going guns a-blazing. You do have to talk, oh, hey, there's here. Now, the funny thing was he was playing the non-immersive mode. And so he's like, how do you not see these guys over here? And I was like, because they don't just auto tag. You don't see everyone. So there is, like you could just see, I just walked in on this guy because I wasn't sure he was on the other side of the door. So there's a little bit more of breach and clear, which I actually kind of like. And I think that's where this game is at its best, is on the interiors of buildings, checking your corners, slowly going upstairs, that kind of thing. Whereas in the open world, without guys being tagged, it is really hard to pick up the bad guys sometimes. I've killed plenty of civilians by accident, of course, and just finding these guys or waiting until they shoot first is pretty common. I have no idea where this firing's come from. I feel like I should have seen this guy. Where is he? He's gonna come around the corner, and that way it keeps you on your toes a little bit. You have to stay frosty, as they say. But it's still really fun, and it is rewarding in that sense. The inventory system, however, I don't care for. I mean, you can just procure on site. You can pick up someone else's weapon. Like the weapon I've been using basically throughout the game was a really good assault rifle that someone in the pretty early days of the game dropped, and I've just kept it and I've modded it, and updated it as much as I can. I really haven't found a better weapon. But you pick up all these blueprints everywhere, and you can spend at the store to open the blueprints, but you don't actually see the statistics of a lot of these weapons, so you're kind of blind going in, and the currency that you use it's not rare, but it's not as prevalent. Like you do have to kind of be like, okay, I'm only going to update and see if I can do this one. And I just don't care for that. I'd rather just have a weapon. Yeah, maybe you have some upgrades on it, but it's more about your skill as a shooter or playing the game than it is just about like, okay, do you have a powerful weapon? Do you have powerful perks? That kind of thing. So that's the other aspect, is that you can open up to 3 slots for your perks, and you have things like carry more ammo or run faster for longer, things like that, and they definitely help, but it's not something I necessarily need. I almost want a third-person tactical shooter that is akin to just like a Call of Duty first-person shooter type of thing, where there's a little bit of customization, there's a little bit of, okay, these are the weapons I like, or I can make better, or that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's purely about the experience of the tactical shooting, or like in that case, it would have been the first-person shooting to get through it. And so while this game does have that, all this extra stuff doesn't really add too much to it, and it actually kind of makes it worse. So if I was to give this a grade, I'd probably say something around like a 70 or a C, which is pretty solid. Again, if I spent $60 on this, I would have been a little more upset, but $13 I think is what I spent on it, and it's scratching that itch of a tactical third-person shooter, and which there's just not a lot of. I love Uncharted, all of them basically. I have Guardians of the Galaxy sitting on deck after this. Returnal, those are all technically third-person shooters, but and they're all great, but I just kind of wanted that tactical, I got to be really careful, I could die in any instant, which happens a lot in this game. So if you are looking for a tactical shooter in that vein, in like a poor man's Metal Gear Solid 5, I would definitely recommend Ghost Recon Breakpoint.